So fam, we know Tama to be the type of character whose trademark aspect of her entire character is embodying the trait of a cat, right? Or wanting to become a cat, right? And from every aspect of her design itself, character design, her clothing, for example, and her entire personality itself, right? Nozowa Sensei and Nakamura Sensei were able to cook up a character that perfectly encapsulates a nice blend with making or bringing another breath of life or another look into the cat girl type of character. And that very personality of Tama is also greatly reflected in how she is drawn, right? The art style of how Nozowa Sensei would draw her in various scenes or moments, and this also leads up to multiple instances where you get to see Tama basically just evolve into simply being drawn more cat-like instead of human, right? And most notably, what I would dub as Tama cat head, for lack of better term. If you have one better, put it down in the comments below so I can, take note of it. And if, perhaps I'll also use it in a future video for, for us to also learn and stuff like that, right? But yeah, Tama cat head, exactly what it is, right? Tell me, Rindo, about the beauty of such an amazing, profound art, right? To give a bit of a quick background, I suppose, right? In most anime or manga stories or light novels and whatnot, right? Or at least essentially when you have a cat girl character trope, right? The distinct features that you would notice with such that make them stand out or what make them cat girls, right, are look at the physical aspect first. Cat ears, right? Of course, themselves, tail or whatnot, or maybe claws or something like that, and cat-like eyes, right? Or eyes that have like very distinct cat-like features to them. If you take a look at the behavioral aspect of it, we have cats being or the sly type or the playful type, right? Or sneaky teasing type or whatnot, right? It depends, really. Very cat-like attitude, right? But for our Tama, Nakamura Sensei and Nozowa Sensei chose the type wherein they just want to laze around, right? The cat just wants to laze around, chill, vibe around, and they made Tama's character capture that role so perfectly, right? And it makes even more sense given her backstory of just the reason why she wanted to become a cat in the first place, that she tired of work, just wants to laze around, let people around her pamper her, stuff like that, right? And more to be said on that topic for another video. But the point being is that when you have a cat girl, right, or sorry, I should rather at least specify specifically cat-like character, right? Or a girl with cat-like personality, right? And this refers to specifically a non-fantasy type of character who just simply looks or acts like a cat, right? For example, Tama, right? Because don't forget, fam, despite the many amazing supernatural aspects that we see in this in the Hyakuno universe, in its ground, I guess you can say that it's also really based on just simply down to earth, regular stuff, right? But of course, can't neglect the supernatural elements, right? Tama is, still human as she is, right? Human after all. Now, going back, with most of these cat-like characters, right? Whenever they would act, feline-like or something, or cat-like, right? I feel like I'm gonna use that word a lot in this video. They sometimes show these sorts of gimmicks, like sort of popping of the cat ears or the eyes turning cat-like. There it goes again. Or throwing in those, cat sounds in the background, right? Time and time again, these effects tend to appear and signify, or personify rather, that sort of cat-like behavior of said character. And in Tama's case, it's also actually true, because when she exhibits that cat-like personality or behavior, she also then turns more into very cat-like. Right? Now, there are three different phases that I'll at least notice or observe from this catification that we can observe from Tama, right? The first phase is the simple behavioral cat Tama version, right? Where this sort of Tama is, just Tama as she is, right? Her movements and gestures and personality all kind of resemble that of a cat, right? Pretty simple stuff, and this is just one where there is absolutely no altercation to her art style yet, right? It's simply, I guess one notable trait that you would notice with Tama acting cat-like is the shift to her eyes, right? Instead of the the usual eyes, it's something more bead-like, right? And her mouth definitely as well, with the A mouth or triangle mouth. Yeah, I guess that's one thing. Phase 2 is now one of the more noticeable ones, popular ones, I guess, that I've observed and noticed, the cat head, right? This is the face. In this phase, Tama's entire head portion has simply been, well, simplified drawn into that of a cat, right? With the art style and the initial shape, the signature shape of Tama still being, resembled, right? The outline of it is still there to allow us to know that, hey, this is Tama, right? But this sort of phase of catification has been more frequently used in a lot of Tama moments throughout the series in both a chibified or small simplified version of a character, or actual full body versions of this, right? And this approach to showing Tama's cat-like characteristics really highlights the immense cat energy that Tama is giving in a particular scenario. Now, of course, there are different instances where this style would be used as, such as, first, mainly we see it as a style used for floating heads, right? Or again, sort of chibified head versions, right, of the characters, right? Whenever Tama would give a response to something or something like that, right? The second is a minuscule version of the character, whenever we would see sort of establishing shots, right, of a scene where the entire family is involved. Tama is just drawn very cat head like. Again, cat head like Tama. And in this state, it's again much easier for her to be recognized by, well, the reader. The third is simply as Tama, at whenever time it is, right? Sometimes in both a chibi-like style or full-on sized ones, right? Going back to the faces, phase 3 is when Tama is just full-on cat, and I believe this has only happened once, at least when you get to see the full-sized body of Tama, right? Where in this panel from the Floating Island Escape arc, right, Nozowa Sensei just simply draw Tama as a cat, right? As to why? Because why not, right? Because all of the characters are just drawn in this like regular style, right? But for Tama, it is absolutely very cat-like, right? From the entire body of her, right? It is a cat. I mean, if you didn't tell me that this is Tama, I wouldn't have believed it, right? But isn't that precisely the beauty of it, fam, right? The thing about makes this so beautiful as to why Nozowa Sensei also cannot chose or went with this approach of drawing Tama, right? For again, as to the reason why Nozowa Sensei would draw this, God only knows why, right? But one thing for sure is that it's cute as hell. This perfectly brings out the entire vibe of who Tama Nekonari is, right? And that is just simply who is a cat who just wants to laze around and chill all day, right? And even the art style of Nozowa Sensei herself, again, as I've mentioned before, it's also reflected in this sort of total lack of detail style when drawing Tama's face, right? It's simply just drawing a cat head, but it's still enough for us to recognize who this character is. Like, this is Tama, and that's also just part of the genius behind Nozowa Sensei's art, or maybe that's just me overreacting or overlooking into things, right? But the point is that the very behavior of just wanting to be cat-like, right, is what makes Tama, well, Tama, right? And the more frequently you get to see this Hormorphers in the series, just makes it all the way better for us to know how strong Tama's conviction is to sticking to her, as Kishika would say it, chivalry, right, of being cat. This could be my own interpretation of it, but again, Nozowa Sensei's art style is also really deeply expressed in the very character that she draws, right? Knowing Tama's personality, of course, she would also tend to have a style that is more fit with Tama herself, right? That being cat. I don't know. I guess when you see the bigger picture of it, it's really nice to see Tama, just being herself and saying Nozowa Sensei. Also probably enjoying the way that she would also draw Tama in this sort of state, right? The art style of it and the very personality that she brings forth from, bringing Tama to life through this sort of approach to her art style and her character design is just simply remarkable, and something that really also kind of elevates a character's personality even more. The way a character brings her very personality even more to life is also on part of the talent of the artist to, include that much detail in, or, thought process at least, right, as to how they would draw that particular character. So if you want a character or a scene rather to be badass, then yeah, Joy does this. But if you just want it to be, cat, then cat away. With that being said, thank you for listening, family, and take care.